So, thank you, Mr. Cato, for having us over to your house today. This is Mr. Peter Cato.
Yeah.
And Mr. Cato, if you'd like to just introduce yourself and just tell us when you came to Southampton and from where.
Yeah, well, my name is C. Cato. The C is for Carl Cato. And I came to this country back in the 60s, 1961. Cato Southampton Docks.
Right.
And I was supposed to go to Highway Com. That's from Buckinghamshire. But a friend told me to stay in Southampton. He said, my cousin said you could stay in Southampton. So I didn't jump ship, but I jumped the train and stayed in Southampton.
Right.
And I stayed in Southampton, and here am I, 50 odd years on, I'm still in Southampton.
So, Mr. Cato, if I could ask you, back in those days, did most of the Caribbean families live in what we call the Newtown area? When I mean Newtown area, I mean Derby Road and all the small roads that lead off it.
That's right.
So that's
Buller Street, Alfred Street, Cranberry Avenue, Denzil Avenue, Lion Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Clovelly Road and
Clovelly Road, Graham Road.
Right, right.
Northumberland Road.
Yeah, I know them well.
St. Mary's Street, St. Mary's Road.
Right, and so when Caribbean people started settling into that area, what were the circumstances that caused people to want to start their own house parties and sound systems? What was it about the mainstream? What was the racism you faced?
Well, the mainstream for that, we didn't got anywhere to go. There was a lot of discotheque. This town had a lot of discotheque, and at the time, and club, but I wouldn't say we didn't welcome them, but we'd rather have our own do among ourselves. We used to go to discotheque, the Adam and Eve. There was one called the Adam and Eve, the Top Hat. We go to them, we were welcome, we never get turned away, but we were outnumbered. There was half a dozen colored people amongst 200 English people. We felt we were outnumbered, and we felt we didn't welcome, though we were welcome. We never get turned away. So it started that we get together, have a few house party, and from there we see how it go. That go for a long time by getting together, having a few house party, and go to friend's house, having party, and then came the West Indian Club. I think was in the 70s. The West Indian Club came along, and then we all gathered at the West Indian Club. That include not just West Indian, include West Indian and a lot of Asian family. It wasn't just West Indian. It was Afro-Caribbean club, but then there was a lot of Asian people mixed in, and we were like one family. There was no trouble between Asian and West Indian, I could name you mostly all the Asian family around Southampton use the West Indian club. Right. They used to come, they never make themselves a nuisance. We had a room for them because they rather sit on their own, have the chat, and we give them a lunch. So that was their bit. We still go in there, sit down, have a chat with them, but we never saw it be a nuisance. So the Asian people, they're more like to be private. Not that they're going to do anybody any harm, but they like to sit down and have a chat between themselves and more want the privacy. Right. So we give them the privacy, and they had a time when they used to come and go. They never stay late. I think it was 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I can't remember the time when they all was out the door. They had to go home and get the dinner. The wife probably prepared the dinner, and they all leave and go have the dinner.
So, Mr. Cato, that was obviously in the 70s.
Yeah.
With the West Indian Association, but before that, tell us a bit more about the house parties and the blues that used to have in the Derby Road Newtown area.
Yeah.
I understand that there was quite a few. And what sort of music did they play, and what was the setup inside?
Well, the music, it was, as you know, reggae music. And we start with blue beat, then it go to ska, and then it come to reggae. I mean, there was no Bob Marley about at the time. I mean, Bob Marley come in the later stage, but it was people like Prince Buster, you know, and etc., you know, and Millie, My Boy Lollipop, you know,
Yeah.
and, you know, then all these new singers come about, you see. Well, at the time we had happy days. I mean, that was happy time. Everybody was like one family. You know, when you got a house party, you go there and they cook, which even now, curry goat. You get a meal there during the night and you go home maybe 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
You know, you get there about 10 o'clock, maybe 12, and you stay there all night and the music going. And it wasn't no sounding system. They had a radiogram we call Blue Spot.
Blue Spot gram. Every West Indian.
Every West Indian people had a blue spot.
Right.
And if you didn't got one, well, something wrong with you. And you used to try and outdo one another would buy, you know, the biggest blue spot.
Right.
And that's what we use.
Right.
And suddenly, Mr. Gildings, as you know, Salim
Gillings, yeah.
he started music. He had a disco, you know, and the chap before that, he went home, you know, I can't remember his name, but Salim Gilding, you know, start more or less having, you know, disco, and then disco started, you know.
Right.
There are various people, you know, start out having disco.
So they had a blue spot gram, but in those days I understand it was hard to find record shops supplying black music.
Oh yes.
So where did people used to go?
Well, you were lucky. Henry's used to be the main dealer down here in St. Mary Street, Henry's Record, and Francis. Now Henry's, if you hold a record, you try and get the name of the record, and Henry would check it out, and he would try and get it for you from London.
Right.
Yeah. There wasn't no record shop down here sell reggae music.
Right.
If you wanted any reggae music, you either had to go to London, and to go to London it cost you a fortune. So Henry's, you try and get the name of the record, just the name, and he would get it for you. Sometimes you go there and you say, I can't get it. And suddenly, as the time goes on, we had this chap came along named Tetlow, and he, Englishman, he opened a shop in St. Mary's.
Right.
Started to sell reggae music. And then Salim Gilding opened a shop selling reggae music. They saw it while he getting a bit bigger in Southampton. So they go up to London, you know, and they open a shop and bring the record down.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's great. So, and I understand on a typical Saturday, Friday night, there wasn't just one blues.
Oh no,
no,
you had a choice of blues.
How many roughly would you say there were?
Well, 2 or 3.
Right.
Yeah, but you had a choice of blues, and they sort of cooperate with one another, some of the people. So, well, I'm going to have one, and the other person would say, well, I'm going to have one. So you had a choice. Which one is the best? So you go to both of them. Yeah, you had a choice. So you go to both of them.
Yeah.
And plus, what you do, you go to a big dance first, and then you end up in the blues after.
Right.
You might go to a discotheque first. And at the time, discotheque never used to go all night. No, they finish about maybe 12 o'clock.
Right.
And then from there, you go to the house blues, you see.
And so what were the famous blues in the Derby Road area, and the people, if you can name them, and which roads they were on?
Well, there was a blues in, there was various. There was one in Derby Road, 2 or 3 in Derby Road.
And who used to run those?
Well, the people I'm still about now, about 42 Derby Road, they used to got one there. Then further up the road, when Mr. Singh used to got the shop, Anna Singh for shop, that they used to got one day. This chap Powell, Joe Powell.
Joe Powell.
He's still about, but you know, he used to run a blues day. Then in Lower Alfred Street, they used to run a blues day. Then Cranberry Avenue, Vera's house there on Denzil Avenue.
Right.
They had their own house party, you know.
And out of all of those, which one was the most popular? Which one stood out? And for what reason did it stand out? Why was it so popular?
Well, they all was the same, more or less. When you go to one, you go to the lot.
Right.
There wasn't none better than any. You go there and you get the same thing. It wasn't anything different.
Right.
The same reggae music and bit of blues, bit of soul, you know, not many. And your curry goat and patty.
And Patty.
Patty, yeah.
Right. So which were the famous, I mean, you've mentioned a few artists, Mr. Cato. Which were the big artists in your day when you used to go? Which were the big artists that you used to listen to?
Well, people like Prince Buster and Dennis Brown them came along.
Yeah.
Prince Buster and various name, you know. You know, and more or less when they play soul music, people like, well, Benny King, you know, they, you know, came along, and a lot of the American soul, you know, singer, you know.
Yeah.
But they never used to play much soul music. It was more reggae music, you know.
Right. So, I mean, apart from the West Indian Club and the house parties and the blues, did any venues in the 60s and 70s allow a sound system to set up? Were there any places where we could go apart from the house parties?
Yes, there was places. I mean, then come the early 70s, then they start to admit let place to black people, West Indian, to have dance like the what's the name? The British Legion Club.
Yeah.
That used to be in a part of Lion Street and a part in Upper Cranberry Avenue.
Right.
Then they start to let us, the club, British Legion Club, and there was another place I call it Top Hat, I think. Yeah. They then, you know, we come uptown like, you know.
Yes. Right, and the impact of...
And the Guildhall.
And the Guildhall.
And Marlin Hall, which
Right.
Marlin Hall no longer.
Yeah.
But the Guildhall and Marlin Hall, you know.
Right. And the impact of these house parties and sound systems, early sound systems, Southampton, did you get a lot of the white British people coming to this club? How did this influence from the Derby Road, Newtown area of sound systems, house parties, how did that influence the wider community? Did they used to attend? How did they...
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody complained at the time, because the reason for nobody complained, West Indian, Afro-Caribbean didn't got nowhere else to go. We had place to go, but there was a sort of relaxation there that people never saw or bother you so much, because they thought, well, probably that's a part of your culture.
Right.
So you rather don't go to the nightclub. So you rather get together in your house. There was no complaint. There wasn't police call. There was no fighting.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Because if they keep the noise down, even living the English people, there was no complaint, because they take it that was a part of culture.
Right.
And nobody complained.
So you had English people, they started to come to these house parties from the beginning?
Yeah, it was a mixed crowd. It wasn't just pure black people.
Right.
No, pure Afro-Caribbean people. There was a mixed crowd.
Right.
Irish, Welsh, the lot. English.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a mixed crowd.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So these house parties, would you agree, were how black music in Southampton was introduced to the white community?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So in the club, they never play much black music. There was more or less English music, you know, like chart music.
Yes.
You know, so they heard about the West Indian music, you know, and they come along and, you know, they have a good time, you know.
So then, obviously, you were the first generation, and then in the late 70s you had the second generation.
Yes.
who were like either kids who came from the Caribbean or who were actually born in Southampton.
Yeah.
How did blues and sound system change with that next generation?
Well, it changed by, we the older one, we had to take a back seat. And then, you know, they changed the music as well, because from blue beat to ska and to reggae, they changed it to raga.
Right.
And suddenly you got a new breed of music and different culture, you know. You know, a lot of the older people, including myself, we still go with that culture, because not all are we, so you got to still mix in with the younger people. You know, you can't leave them on their own.
So just a little bit about the Derby Road Newtown area, Mr. Cato. What decade would you say there was the highest concentration of Caribbean families living in the Newtown area?
Well, from 61 up until the 80s.
You had there was a big Caribbean.
Oh yes, yeah. Started from 61 right up until the 80s. Well, up until the 80s, people started to resent Derby Road area. Derby Road come as one of the low points. Then they call it the jungle.
Right. Yeah.
And the jungle it is. The jungle is not, because the council stepped in and started to buy up a lot of the properties. And there is where it is today, where the council, because they call it the jungle, Asian, West Indian, and a lot of English people decide to move out.
Right.
Because they don't want to live in the jungle.
Right.
But a lot of people now who didn't live in the jungle came into the jungle because the council buy up a load of the property, and it's no longer the jungle.
Right.
There are new people, English people, come in.
Right. So, at the height of its of the Caribbean community's presence in the Derby Road Newtown area, what percentage of that area would you say was Afro-Caribbean?
Was a big percentage.
A big percentage.
Yeah, between Afro-Caribbean and Asian people.
Yeah.
Very big.
Yeah.
But now, it's not a big population of people there now.
So if you could estimate, Mr. Cato, you know, during the high point of the Caribbean presence in Derby Road and Newtown, how many families would you say there were in that area at the most, when it was at its highest level in Caribbean families?
Well, it was a big family. I would say it's big. Quite a big family between Asian and West Indian. Very big family, especially with the Asian. But most of the Asian move out from there. They live on the outskirts now, Southampton, you know. So a lot of them go to Eastleigh, Hagen, Boyerwood, you know, out in Eastleigh, and the Avenue. And Shirley.
So in terms of like Caribbean families, would you say at its high point there was 50 or 60 or more than that? In the Newtown area?
Oh yeah, more than that.
Well, how much would you say there were roughly?
What, people?
In terms of how many families were there? About 100 families, would you say?
Oh yes,
Or more or less?
Yeah, and a lot of them move out as well.
Right.
So I myself, I lived down there from 1961, and I get up here, 86.
Right.
So you could see the gap from 1961 to 86. That's when I come up here. You see.
Right. And now, obviously, I think one of the last blues to close down there was Gloria's.
Yes. That's the last one to close. Which she no longer with us. And that's why it closed. I mean, she went on for years. That was the only blues that lived there. And it closed up until the time she went, about 2-3 years ago. That's when it's finished. No more blues down there.
And you had also Libert's blues as well.
Yes. Well, he no longer with us. And, you know, he gone about 4 or 5 years ago. And that's it. You know, that was the last 2 blues.
So a lot of the older generation of your generation now are either migrated to the Caribbean or are still living in Southampton?
Yes, quite a few went back and quite a few no longer with us. And quite a few were still here, you know. Quite a few we still here, you know, and quite a few passed away, you know.
So now, I think probably the only outlet left in today, 2013, the only outlet for Afro-Caribbean, the community in Southampton, I suppose, is the West Indian Club.
Yes, which that itself is still there, but it's not what it used to be.
Right.
From the 70s to the 80s to the 90s.
Yes.
Where a lot of the older people are no longer with us, and include myself, with my age, I spend a lot more time home. I put a lot of time in this still. So it's not a lot going on there now. And a lot of the younger people, they go to places like Bournemouth and different places now.
So they don't use the Afro-Caribbean?
They do, but not as like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. You know.
And what would you say caused, the down, for the people going to the Afro-Caribbean? What caused the decline in the people going to the Afro-Caribbean?
Well, it's not a decline. People, you get a new generation every 10 years. Things change wrong. Every decade, you got a new generation come along, and they want something different, or they want somewhere different to go. And they want to go their own way, like you got mobile phone. The first set of mobile phone 40 years on, it's completely different now to what it used to be 40 years ago when it first came out.
Right.
So that's how people are.
Yeah.
Every 10 years, things change, and you got to go with the change, you know. Right.
And obviously, Mr. Cato, you came in 1961. Describe the Derby Road Newtown area. What was it like in those days? Was it still majority English people or Asian people? What shops were there?
English. The only shop, there wasn't no Asian people around that area. The first Asian shop we had there, which was Arnold Singh, he came along and he opened a shop. And he used to live down Chapel. And then this building was going in Derby Road and he bought it. And he was the first one to open an Asian shop in Southampton. And not even that, help a lot of the Asian family and West Indian family. And then Mrs. Scott, he started to sell a lot of West Indian food.
Right.
And then Mrs. Scott, I think they were South African, used to live she had a shop in Lion Street.
Lion Street.
That's between Lion Street and Derby Road. She opened a shop, started to sell West Indian food as well.
And they were South Africans?
Yeah, I think they were South African.
Yeah.
But Mr. Singh, he was more the top man and more helpful to a lot of West Indian people and Asian people.
Right.
So knowing that he opened the shop, you had the privilege of going there, and anything you want from London, you sit to him, tell him what the name is, and to bring it for you.
So all your Caribbean groceries when you came in 1961, they were all supplied mainly by Harnam Singh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, 61 he wasn't there. I think it was about a couple of years down the line.
Right, right. And were there any Afro-Caribbean shops in the area?
No, there wasn't none. Not up until from 61 to the 80s. I think we got a couple of Afro-Caribbean shop came along, but it didn't last very long.
Grocery shops? Or?
Yeah, grocery shop.
Right.
Bobby Spence had one.
Yeah.
And he's still alive. And Mrs. Brown, she had one. She back in Jamaica.
And which roads were these shops on?
Bobby Spence was in St. Mark's Road, but wrong 6 Doyle way.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
but that's no longer there now. They pulled down. And Mrs. Brown, she was in Lower Alfred Street.
And is this the 60s or the 70s we're talking about?
Well, I think it was the late 70s, 80s.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, and in terms of like barber shops, Afro-Caribbean barbers, nothing like that?
No. You go to houses. There was one chap called Sims. He's still alive. He cut you. You go to various houses where you got one of your friend, and you cut your hair, and that was that.
So there were no Afro-Caribbean barbers. It was more people you knew.
You knew, and you go to the house, and they cut your hair, and you might go once a month or twice a month, you know. And the first shop opened was Maltese. He opened one in Lyons, Onslow Road.
Onslow Road.
This Maltese. And he said he could cut coloured people here as well.
He was actually not Caribbean?
No. Well, Maltese, you know, he's from Malta.
Oh, Malta, yeah, from Malta, yeah.
Well, a lot of West Indian went there, you know, and cut their hair, which included me. You know, he wasn't too bad. That was a sideline for him. He used to work up Ford Motor Company, and he opened the shop there. And then come in about 2000, there was a couple of West Indian shops. Barry Mason, he opened one in St. Mary Street.
Yeah.
And then he moved from St. Mary Street, come up to Northern.
Northern, yeah, yes.
And then, around about the 2000, there was a couple of more shops opened down St. Mary's again, which they are good barber, but they didn't last very long.
Right.
And now we got one up in Bedford Place.
Yes, I do know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing was, in terms of pubs in the Derby Road, Newtown area, which pubs were where most, you know, of the West Indian community used to drink?
Well, now we're talking the Criterion and the Volunteers.
The Criterion.
The Criterion and the Volunteers, they're no longer there. Where the gas place is now.
Gas place.
The gas building is there.
Right.
Yeah. Now that place, those pubs pulled down.
Yeah.
And there was a loads of houses and other pubs around there. But there was the main two pubs that people used. It was right on the main road.
Right.
On St. Mary's Road, you know.
Uh-huh.
And there's where a lot of West Indian, Irish, you name it, all different nationality. These two pubs was together.
Right.
And we used to meet there.
Right.
And there was and all the girls them used to meet there, you know. So,
Okay.
I mean, people from far, Winchester, Salisbury, Eastleigh, they come into Southampton and they ask for those pubs, you know.
Yes.
And that's where they meet. They come, they have the drink, see the ladies, and off they go again. Yeah.
And then obviously you had the Derby Road area. So in the Derby Road area, the area as it is now, before, you know, after the gas building was made, which of the pubs in that area were where most West Indian people used to frequent?
The farmhouse. They had the old farmhouse and the new farmhouse.
Right.
And then the new farmhouse went. Leave the old farmhouse, which is still there now, and then you had what the one in Cloggerley Road, the Queensland.
Queensland.
There is where they assembly.
Yeah.
The Queensland. Well, that's it turned that into a flat now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Then we had the Northumberland Road pub.
Northumberland pub.
Oh yeah, that is where we spent a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then we had the Glebe, which West Indian opened a pub that, you know, took it over once, you know, for some time.
Yeah.
And
right.
they call now the Alfred something.
Alfred,
you know?
yeah. So even in those days when you first came, Mr. Cato, was there a colour bar? Were there some pubs where you knew were racist? Or
No.
There was no colour bar?
No. No, you could have got to any pub in Southampton and you were welcome.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And clubs, probably there was prejudice there, but they never sort of show it, you know.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at the time, everybody was happy and there was a lot of money about and they was after your money. So you go in, probably between amongst the people, you know, they look at you, but then who don't look at you, look at them, they look at you.
Yeah.
It might be there, but they try and make you welcome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they try and make you welcome.
And also, Mr. Cato, you're quite famous in Southampton's Afro-Caribbean community because you played a big part in the Southampton West Indian Association.
Yes.
So describe your role in the West Indian Association. I hear you played music as well.
Yeah, well, my role came when I'm one of the people that been on the committee at the West Indian at the Afro-Caribbean. I said they changed the name over the years.
Yeah.
I've been there for a number of years and represent a lot of people there.
Right.
And I see about 2 or 3 generation grow up, which they all respect me. And I was on the committee there for a long time, you know, doing volunteers, which I do a lot of charity work. So that's how I come do a bit of DJ there while I'm there, and I be MC, you know.
So what was your DJ name, Mr. Cato?
Softly, Softly.
Softly, Softly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what type of music did you used to play?
Well, reggae and soul.
Reggae and soul.
Soul.
And what years were you active as DJ Softly, Softly?
Well, I'm still doing it now just as a volunteer thing, you see.
Right, right.
Yeah, because I mean, my main job, I always got a full-time job.
Yes.
I mean, this was just to help the community.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I never get paid when I used to work there. We never get paid as a community member. I mean, that was free for the community, you know. So I had a full-time job.
But you were basically DJing at the Afro-Caribbean
Help, yeah.
as a volunteer.
Voluntary,
Ah.
yeah.
And what year did you start DJing first in the West Indian Association or the Afro-Caribbean Association?
When it's open, as you know, we opened back from the 70s, you know.
Yeah.
They used to get DJ the boy just to help out, you know.
Yeah.
Do relief and, you know, just have a go. We all have a go, you know.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
But then you had a full-time job, you know. So it wasn't an everyday thing, you know, like now and again you have a go, you see.
And did you ever used to then travel down to London to get your records? Or
No.
Yeah.
No.
Right,
No.
right.
No, like I said, if I want any record, you go to Henry's record shop, you know.
Yes.
You know. I was only doing it as a voluntary thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had a full-time job, you know, at Ford's. I worked for Standard Telephone, worked for the Daxpo, then I worked for Ford's, and working shift work, you know. I could only do a voluntary work like weekend, you know.
And lastly, Mr. Cato, as a final question to the younger generation now in Southampton, what would be your message to them?
Well, my message to them, they just had to carry on where we left off, but they can't carry on where we left off. I mean, there are different thing about now. It's a lot different now to what it used to be, to when we came here. Time has changed. You see, what we put up with in the life, just go to work, do a bit of charity work, and make it good for them. They're not prepared to do that. You see, they want everything on a plate. Like what we do for them, they think that we're going to be forever. It's not. Now we get old. We get old now.
Yeah.
It's not there for them. And there's where they find it a struggle. I mean, at the West Indian Club, we clean the place for nothing. We do the DJ for nothing. So they came in, if anybody rent the place, which we used to get people bring groups there from London.
Yeah.
That was put on a plate for them.
Yeah.
It was so easy for them to pay just a fraction on the door, maybe a couple of quid on the door, come and enjoy themselves all night. Because we clean the place, you know, we cut the grass, and you know, what the older people do. The young people never do that. So they find it a struggle now. You see? So they will never survive. They can't survive because, I mean, it's a lot of thing to run the West Indian Club. It take a lot of voluntary. If you have to pay people, you close up because you haven't got the money to pay them wages. And these younger people, they're not prepared to go there now and clean the place, like clean the toilet or cut the grass. I had to take money out of my own pocket, buy the equipment to cut the grass.
But you did that because you wanted there to be a solid foundation for the
foundation and for the community. It's not just for Afro-Caribbean, it's for Asian, straight across the board, English, for everybody. So there wasn't one set of people using the West Indian Club.
Yeah.
There was any nationality, you see.
Okay, well, Mr. Peter Cato, today's date is what? It's Bank Holiday Monday. The 6th of May 2013 in Southampton, Hampshire, UK. I just wanted to say a massive, big respect to you, sir, and a massive thank you for giving us the time to give us this valuable history lesson and your views on the Caribbean community and your outstanding work.
Yes.
So we just want to say thank you for that, Mr.
Yes,
Cato.
and you're more than welcome.
Yeah.
And anytime, you're welcome.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.